Hi and welcome to another video by Jim the Car Guy. Today we have a 2006, it's a Nissan Sentra with a 1.8 liter engine. The problem we have is that the check engine light is on, and after scanning it I see that the engine temperature is actually too low, and that's what the P0128 is. It's the engine temperature is too low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the thermostat with the new one. We're going to put new antifreeze in it, and then we're going to start and let it run to make sure everything is okay. The temperature gauge actually is a little bit lower than it's supposed to be, and that'll actually be because of the bad thermostat. So let me bring you up there. I'm going to show you how to do it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to drain the antifreeze out of the car so we have less of a mess. We have a bucket underneath the bottom of it to catch the antifreeze, and then there's only a couple of 10mm screws to remove it, and we're going to pull the hose off so we can take the thermostat housing off and clean it up. So all right, let me bring you up there. I'm going to show you what to do, and we'll get this job out the door. Okay, now looking at it underneath the hood, where the thermostat is actually located is right in this hose right over here. We need to remove this hose clamp right here. We'll slide the hose back. We're going to take out these three 10mm bolts right here. We're going to pull this thermostat housing off so we can gain access to the thermostat. All right, now before we go any further, we're going to drain the coolant out of it. I don't know if you can see that down there, but that's the drain valve right down here. This is the drain valve. So we're just going to open this valve. It's made of plastic. Most of the time you can just do it by hand. You don't need to get any kind of tools on it. Make sure you have a suitable container that you can drain your antifreeze into. It's going right in the bucket. So we're going to let it drain out a little bit. And we're going to take the radiator cap off so that the coolant drains out properly. We're going to let that drain down now, and I'll show you what tools you're going to need. All right, basically all you're going to need is a pair of pliers, a scraper, or a razor blade, whatever you want to use. I'm using a 1/4-inch ratchet set because these are very, very easy to break, and we don't want to take a chance with that. So, all right, let's get set up and let's get to work. Okay, the first thing we're going to do now is we're going to remove that clamp right there so we can slide the hose back. You just put a pair of pliers on it, and you can just pull it out of the way like this for now. And then we just disconnect this hose right here. All right, if the hose is stuck, you can just get in here with a screwdriver and just pry it off just very slightly, just to loosen it up a little bit. Now, I'm going to close the drain valve down the bottom because enough antifreeze has come out. Okay, now if you were changing all the antifreeze, then obviously you would let it all drain out. But that's not the case here. We're just going to replace what we lose. All right, this is where your thermostat is located in here. If these are really tight or very rusty, don't force them and break them. Use some penetrating oil on it and just work it back and forth. Now you might lose a little bit of antifreeze, but just make sure you have a bucket down there to catch it. we're going to take the last 10 millimeter out. And we'll just move the housing. Just pulls right off. I'm just going to put this on the side for now. Take our thermostat out. Now, I just want to point this, I'm going to take this out and I'll show you. Make sure you see this valve right up on the top right here. This is air purge. This has to be facing to the top when you put this thermostat back in. Okay, now with the thermostat housing, you're going to clean off all of the residual gasket material on here. In this case, there is really nothing on there. And this is pretty clean here too. So we're in good shape. Just clean it off really well. I'm going to grab the new thermostat, we'll put it back together. Okay, remember what I said about that valve, right? That valve has got to be up on top. So we're going to put this the thermostat back in the housing like this. And then we're going to put the housing back on, hold it in place, and catch all 3 bolts first. Okay, now after you have all 3 of them caught, now you can tighten it up. And you're going to tighten them up evenly all the way around so that the gasket flattens out properly without being pinched. And just keep working back and forth to each one of the bolts. And now we can tighten them up. Now remember, you're screwing it into aluminum. Don't take a chance on breaking anything. So you just snug them down. Now we take our hose that we previously took off, put it back on, and then we're going to take that clamp and we're going to put the clamp back up on there. And that's it. All right, let me grab some antifreeze. We're going to put some antifreeze into it, and then we'll start it up. Okay, always make sure you use the correct antifreeze that belongs in the car. If you're not sure, don't use a universal antifreeze, always use the recommended antifreeze. And then we're going to fill it up to the top. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put this cap back on. We're going to back this car to the door, put a hose on the back of it, and we let it run for a little bit until the cooling fans turn on. Once the cooling fans turn on, then we know that the antifreeze is circulated through the entire system and the thermostat is working correctly. So I'm going to back it to the door and let it run, and then we're going to recheck our antifreeze level here, as well as in this overflow bucket on the side, on the side of the engine, which is right over here. This one right here. We're going to check that too to make sure that's full. All right, so let me back it to the door. We're going to let it run, and that's it. We're all set. Just make sure that you look to make sure you have no leaks in here and clear the code out, and that's it. You're going to be all set. All right, so let's back it to the door, and I'm going to road test it. Okay, so we're just going to let it run for a little bit. We did rinse it down with some water, so we got all of the antifreeze off of everything. And as you can see here, you see the thermostat? You can see how it's all shiny right there? What's happening is the thermostat is actually binding against that part of the housing right there. So, all right, so we got it running now. We're just going to let it run till it warms up. We're going to check the engine temperature. As you can see now, the temperature's in the normal range. The heat coming out of the heater is nice and hot. All right, we make sure our overflow is filled up here, and we're just going to let it run for a little bit until our cooling fans over here turn off and on, just to make sure that everything is circulating properly. Another way you can tell if it's circulating properly is you grab the upper radiator hose and you feel it. It's hot. Then you grab the lower radiator hose and you feel it, and that's also hot. They should be equally heated up to the same temperature, both of them. All right, we'll let this run a little bit now just to make sure, and then we'll drive it, and we'll come back and we'll check to make sure our antifreeze is up to our maximum level. Now let's take it out and take it for a ride. Okay, I might add that it's a little bit difficult to purge out the air in this particular vehicle too. So what you want to do is you want to just go inside the vehicle, and I'm going to show you what to do. What you're going to do is you're just going to raise the engine speed up and let it back down. Raise it up and let it down. Just keep on doing that, and it'll get the antifreeze circulating through. It'll get all those air pockets out, and you'll be in good shape. And now when it's running, if you feel the air coming out of the register and it's cold, then you know that the thermostat didn't open yet and it still has to be driven, or you just keep on revving it just a little bit, just like this. You don't want to rev it too high, just a little bit, and you watch your temperature gauge. You want to make sure your gauge never gets up past like the 3/4 mark. But I know the thermostat is now opened up. I can feel the heat coming out of the register. So, we're in good shape. We're going to take it out, we're going to drive it, and we're going to give the car back to the owner. All right, any questions or comments, or you have any concerns, you send me an email. I'd be more than happy to talk to anybody about anything. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.